too, I guess. I guess I'll get that too then. It's 1:30 right now. I could probably go get the part and be back by, I can be back by next Thursday, next week. You want to go get the truck and bring it in here? What else do you need?
Can I use my thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use this thing, but yeah, you could use the other. You have what, a couple bathrooms in here?
Grab those bags and take them back up to the truck.
Well, so are we gonna come back a different day or are we gonna call someone else out? Because that's 3 bags and just 2 guys. Today? Yo, what's up, man? Fresh, first day on the job. What's poppin'? Just test that ball like stocking.
Nice to meet you. Are those the only shoes you brought?
Yo, you like them? Y'all don't got AC?
Not out here.
That's sus, bro. What's up, baby? What's it do? Man, it's gonna be me and you out there in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Slanging and banging. You and me all day, every day. What?
Fresh air.
Bussin', bro. Man, what y'all got up in the fridge, dude? Oh, apple juice! You should get me on there, man, with a fit check. With the flat cap bill, rocking them Jordan 4s, right? With the Home Hero shirt. I've gone to shops where literally guys have pulled me aside and be like, man, I love all this stuff you're teaching, but if I do this, I'll be out till midnight. They're just gonna give me more calls. And it's heartbreaking. It's like, man, what's the real goal here? Like if I've got 12 tables in a restaurant and I can serve those 12 people and give them the best experience ever and I can be profitable. If I wanna make more money, I'm gonna add a 13th table. I'm not gonna add a 13th customer. Meaning I'm gonna increase my capacity. I'm not just gonna shove more people into my capacity. My room fits 56 people and I wanna sell more tickets to my event. I either have to increase the capacity or hold separate events. I can't put 115 people into a room of 57 people.
They want a tankless and a softener installed. They don't have either, and they've already been approved for financing.
What's that got to do? So you want me to go out there and do that call?
Well, they also say they've been having trouble with their sewer line and been wanting to replace it for a while, but they can't find somebody who they like to do it, but they think they trust us.
I don't want to have to work super hard to get it though. You want me to repipe the house, put it in a new tankless, softener. You say something about a sewer line?
That's what it looks like. I think we should go check it out, man.
No, bro, this is ridiculous. And is this commission?
Yeah, I already talked to the owner about it. He wants to actually double your commission on it because it's such a big job.
No. So you want me to go out there, you want me to run this call, it's a bunch of work and a bunch of money or whatever, but it's also a bunch of taxes, and you're gonna have people out there helping me, watch me, do what I do, and then you want me to get it done faster so I make even more money, and then I have to, take another call because now I'm done by Thursday or something?
What else are you gonna be doing instead here, Steve? This is the job, man.
You got any odor smells or anything like that on there? Like maybe like in a different, maybe just... Why does on-call suck? Well, look, here's the thing. Most companies that do on-call 24/7 after hours, they don't treat it the same way they do during normal hours. They have a full staff and they have a full support system if someone calls between 8 and 5. But then after hours, they don't have a CSR, they don't have a supply staff, they don't have a lot of other things, and they want to go out and charge the same rates to the customer, if not even more, because they're doing after hours work. If you want to charge more and do on-call, then provide more service after hours. If you can't provide at least the same service that you provide during the day after hours, then you shouldn't do it. Think of it like an emergency room. Not every doctor is open after hours, but emergency rooms have a full staff after hours. Be an emergency room or be a doctor. But you gotta pick one. And make sure that whatever you pick, you can service to the full. When there's no plumbers to hire, there's still a lot of plumbers that don't work for you working in your city. You're just not known enough. And so everybody tries to be just known enough because you don't want to overspend your marketing. And he goes, well, what do you do with all the money you spend on leads that you can't get to? And I'm like, well, what do you do with all the money you don't make when you're slow? See how this goes both ways? So I would rather spend a couple extra thousand every month and waste it and be known and have leads and momentum and be moving forward and I can hire into than to have that day, just one day when I'm slow. Be a couple grand in revenue off of one truck that we don't get.
It's that time again!
You've
Now enter the No Sale Zone.
No Sale Zone.
Where Chris Fresh
The plumbing sales coach.
peels back the curtain of what sales really is. Buckle up.
Buckle up. Buckle up.
And get ready to learn how to increase ticket average by providing better service. And now, your host,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
CF.
The plumbing sales coach.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Fresh Approach. I'm your host, CF, the Plumbing Sales Coach. Tonight, we're going to be breaking down the price book. How to price, really how to build a price book with the formulas and how to build it out as far as margins go, but also how to use it in the home, how to communicate it in the home, because I think there's a multifaceted approach here to a price book. It's not just a one-size-fits-all or kind of like a one-task thing here. There's complexity to a price book, and it matters. And it's not just limited to service plumbing. Really, any industry, restaurants are notorious for this, having to understand their margins and their food costs and different things like that. So we're going to be breaking down that as it relates to service plumbing, as it relates to the home services industry. These are the three biggest mistakes I see. And I have seen a lot of price books. I've seen a lot of companies' P&Ls that go along with those price books. And it's fascinating to me how many mistakes can be made at such a rapid pace, compounded mistakes. A little mistake over here causes you to make a mistake over there. One just quick point to that would be the idea of not charging the right amount and not having the right volume of revenue coming in. So you start to add more calls to your schedule and you start thinking you have a not enough calls problem when really you got a price book problem. So we're going to be breaking that down. What's up, Larry Stinson? What's up from somewhere in East Texas? Texas all capitalized. I love it. You guys know if you watch this show long enough, you're going to see some folks capitalize some things from Texas. What's up, Chesco Plumbing from PA? Patrick, good to see you on here as always. I'm looking forward to a great show. Let's go fresh. What up, what up, what up? And look, where are you from? Where do you plumb? Where do you reside? Where do you dial in from? Where are you watching from tonight? I want to know where you're at because tonight we are going to be breaking it down. And I got a little surprise as usual. We want to do something fun. So we're going to be doing another comment of the night gift card. Now, you know, if you watched last time, we gave a couple of gift cards away because we're like that. We like to do some backups to the backups, but we're going to be doing that. A little value stacking on the value stacking, a little bit of giveaway on the giveaway, a little bit of free for free. Good evening from Katy, Texas. Mr. Potty Plumbing in the house. Plum Life says, what's up from SoCal, Southern California. You got to be from California to say SoCal. You got to be from Orange County to say SoCal, really. Denver, you know, Jeff Lane in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you always. Mr. Daddy King. King Daddy? Is that what he's calling himself? King Daddy? King Rooter Plumbing in the house. King Rooter Plumbing. Really, King Rooter Lining. They do a ton of lining. In fact, speaking of lining, speaking of that, we got Anytime Plumbing hopping on. That's Tim Sanchez out of Santa Fe. And Tim, you guys do a lot of lining. You and Jeff do a lot of lining. In fact, you're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He's in Denver, Colorado. And you guys are right now both in Durango doing a multifaceted, pretty big project out there on a ski resort. I finally beat Dorinda, Larry says. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Dustin Howell, what's up? Bob Kellogg says, hello from La Crosse. La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's like that 70s show, right? I love you, Wisconsin. David Brown, good to see you from Houston. Oh, Houston in the house. I got a liner in right now, Dustin says. I love it. I love it. All right. How big of a liner you got? You going on the concrete? What you working with, bro? Is this commercial, residential? Austin, Texas, keeping it weird. Love it, man. It's so appropriate. In fact, I got a buddy in Round Rock. He's on the show often, Brandon Graham. In fact, I feel like if I just speak his name, he's going to show up. But Brandon Graham from Round Rock, Texas, owns a plumbing company there. I think Kinsey Plumbing. Cool dude. But yeah, I always say, are you from Texas, or Austin, Texas? Like, is that or what? And he's like, well, over in Texas. I'm like, Texas, or Austin, Texas. Jeff Lane says, need a job? He's asking Dustin if he needs a job. We are lining pros. Yeah, you guys do a lot of lining. I only use the liner. Okay. Knoxville, Texas. Knoxville, Tennessee in the house. So tonight we're going to be talking price book. Tonight we're going to be talking 15-foot patch under a handicap. Oh, yeah, that's a serious job, Dustin. That's why lining's so awesome. You don't have to break that whole handicap ramp up. Yeah, I was with Jeff Lane the first time I was ever on a lining job. It was crazy. We were out in Denver. We were at his shop. It was like maybe 30 minutes from the job site. And it was a UV situation, UV light. So it cures real fast. So we're in his shop. We run the whole thing out, line it all out. We get it all set up, him and his team. I say I'm using we pretty lightly here. They were doing all the work I was watching. But I did help a little tiny bit. They let me touch some stuff. And we went out to the job site. We ran the liner through a clean out, and by 4 p.m. we were leaving the job site. Didn't even look like we had been there. That was the first time I'd ever been on a lining job. So I've done a ton of drains, that kind of stuff. I've never been on a lining job. This was a few years ago. And so it was my first, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But I've done a few with them now, I think, Jeff. You let me actually get epoxy all over my hands and actually get busy with it. Been out to Tim's shop as well. We ran a couple jobs out, quite a few jobs actually with you guys. Love it. Yeah, it's crazy. Lining's amazing. It's such an upgrade to what we can offer in the industry. It's not a one size fits all. It's not for everybody. It's not for every situation, but it is a great resource to have in your back pocket to help somebody out. No different than boring and some other options, right? He says lining is great. Mike, my boy out of Sacramento. Plum Life says make plumbing great again. Don't get me canceled, Plum Life. East Coast, Florida in the house. Treasure Coast. Good to see you. Lining is the way to go. UV makes it way more easy. 100%, dude. I was like, I don't know if you guys seen that movie, The Founder, with Michael Keaton, the McDonald's movie. But he's like, when he goes and he sees the speedy system for McDonald's, and he's like, comes at franchise. He's all excited. He's like, I found it, gold. That's how I felt when I saw UV lighting. I was like, what? We got a liner in at 5. We'll be pulling it after the live. All starts with a camera. Absolutely. Look, we're going to talk about pricing tonight. We're going to talk about the price book. We're going to talk about it from the owner side. How should I price? We're going to talk about it from the service plumber side. How should I price the job, so to speak? But these are the 3 biggest mistakes I see. For those that are wondering, what's my experience? Well, I ran a plumbing shop for 4 years in Indiana, and previous to that, I actually helped another owner get his sellable, same company. So basically helped him get a sellable, improve their revenue by a ton. They were doing about $13K a week. When I came in, we got to $55K within a couple months. And really just by improving the diagnosing and offering options and showing the customer how they could save and how they could benefit from adding more to their system, by improving it, or by fixing a little bit more, or maybe taking care of some things before they were a problem, and just kind of learning that and doing that. And we got that company sellable. In about 3 years they sold, and then I came back and ran that new shop for about 4 years. And then now I've been online for about 8 years, and I have been to a lot of shops. I've probably been to a few hundred all over the US, Canada, and have had a chance to really see a whole lot. I've been exposed to a lot of different plumbing. I've ran a ton of calls. Usually I run 6-7 calls while I'm there for a couple of days. Last shop visit I went on was in South Carolina. Before that, I'm out west and I'm up north. So I've seen it: small town, big town, little town, big town, poor town, rich town. It's all the same, because at the end of the day, it comes down to margins. It comes down to, what it costs to be in business, what it costs to run a business, what it costs to market and to advertise. I got to show up to your house with about $50,000 of risk just to fix your little flapper, or just to fix your faucet, or, just to do that simple little aerator job. It's like, man, you're asking me to put a lot on the line here. My family, my life, my everything. If you're a service plumber, your back, right? Your future, your health. Lots being asked to be put on the line before we even get there. And so, yeah, there's a cost to doing that. There's a cost to business. There's a cost to investing. There's a cost. There's always a cost. And we could get into a life lesson right now, but there's always a cost. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Drain Pros TN, I love it. Oh, dude, you're from Tennessee. Morgan Wallen's got that song TN. Is he talking about y'all? Boston, Massachusetts. Love it. Shout out from Daytona Beach. Love the content. Thank you, Jacob. Daytona Beach. Dang, dude. Must be nice, bro. All right, so look, when it comes down to how this all works, there's a couple of different things that we need to look at, okay? There's going to be some mistakes, I think, is where I'm going to start with. Like, what are the things that people don't consider when they're doing their pricing? And I know it's all over the internet. It's everywhere you turn, that you can figure out what your hourly rate is. And you can figure out what your burden rate is. And those are real terms in business, but they're not being applied correctly. There is a cost of business, and you could break that down by the hour, and you could do different things like that. But at the end of the day, you're just figuring out an average of averages. And what do you plug into that calculator to figure that out? What guesswork do you have to put in to figure out that hourly rate? And so we're going to kind of show you a different way of thinking about it, maybe more of like a traditional sense of how the rest of the world operates. And I think this will really help you out. Big work down here. New York, Caitlin. Caitlin's with CJM Plumbing. Oh, dude, give me the van. Where's the van? I know it's over here somewhere. I just had it, man. I just had it. You see it somewhere? It's behind me. Oh, it's right here. No way, Caitlin, tell your bro. That's how much I love you guys. It's like, look, I'm holding. How you do it? Like a heart? I'm just joking. What? Who loves that? That's sick, right? Y'all love that? I love these guys. My boy Chris McGann, Caitlin Anderson, out of Cornwall. Cornwall? Is it Cornwell or Cornwall? It's Cornwall, New York. Sully landed on the Hudson like 30 minutes from down the river. All right. So look, let's break down the first mistake I see made when pricing. Okay, this is going to be the first mistake I see. Are you showing them? I don't know what you're showing them. Is that what you were showing them? Not factoring risk? Perfect. All right, cool. I couldn't see because it went up to the other screen. We don't know what we're doing here. We're not a TV show. All right, so not factoring risk. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see. I don't really rank them. The third one's going to kind of shock you, I think, as to what the mistake that's made there. But this first one, it's not really like the most important, worst one, but it is one of the big three, not factoring risk. I'll give you a quick example. When a lot of times what I see with pricing is you come up with some hourly rate, like $450 an hour. I got to charge $450 an hour. Or I'm losing money. And it's like, okay. And then I'm like, well, what's your parts markup? And you're like, 20%, 30%, or some made up number. And you put 30% on it. And say, okay. So let's say I go put in this $15 part and I mark it up 30%. That means I'm charging the customer what? 20, 21 bucks for this, 24, 22, 23 bucks, whatever. That's fine if that part is now installed, exposed, chest level, where I can get to it real easy, but it's not enough if it's behind a wall. It's definitely not enough if it's down in the dirt. And so when we start looking at this parts markup, it becomes like this, I wonder if I should do 20%, I wonder if I should do 30%, I wonder if I should do 50%. Heck, and if you're burying it underground, 500% is not enough. If you're chest high, you probably don't have to mark it up at all. And you start thinking of all these things, and there's so many different variables, and that's just one piece of the equation. Then we got this hourly rate. So I want to kind of show you a quick example. Do we have it ready? So, okay, you went fast. A little too much, a little too fast. I'm just joking, get it too low. But look at the fill valve example we got on the screen. $450. So let's say you just figure out your burden rate, your hourly rate, your need is $450. And if you do a fill valve, you drive out there for a half hour, you spend a half hour in the home talking to the customer, 20 minutes talking to the customer, diagnosing, figuring out where you're going to shut off, whatever. And then you do the work, maybe you get an approval. They say $450. I love that price. They don't love that price, but we'll just say they do. $450. And you say, okay, cool, sign right here. You do the work, maybe 20, 30 minutes. You're in and out. You clean up, whatever. You've been in this since 8 a.m. dispatch to 8:30, maybe 8:30 you show up. 8:30 to 9, diagnose, get a signature to get started. Maybe 20 minutes of work, 9:20, 9:30. You clean up, 9:40, you're rolling out of there with payment. Somewhere in there, you're about an hour and 40 minutes into your day, and you've only billed out for 1 hour. $450 is crazy, but that's probably fair. That's probably not enough. It's probably not enough. And if we're talking about business, but at the same time, it's too much. Like $450 for a fill valve. At what point does this, $700 for a fill valve? And I get it. You could do it. $800. I got Chris one time. I sold a fill valve for $928. Like, all right, whatever, cool. That doesn't do anything to me. That doesn't impress me, because you're solving the least amount of problems for the most amount of money. I mean, I get it, but what's the cost of that? The reputation, the bad review, the lost capacity. Because if you keep doing that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. $450 for just a fill valve, yeah, it's way too much. So if we do this hourly thing that says your hourly has to be at least $450 an hour, you're going to be out there charging people outrageous prices for minimal work. That's the point we're making here. How many of you are catching what I'm putting down? How many of you are catching what I'm putting down? Can you Put me in the comments really quick. Let me know if you're picking this up, if this makes sense. Because I think what happens is we get throw in a stop too. Sure, but that's not the point we're making right now, because there's a lot of people out there teaching people how to do this hourly rate, and it's just the wrong way to go about it. Now, put up the example again. What if it's a sewer line? 8 hours of digging and running a new sewer line in the ground, $3,600 is not enough. But they're both $450 an hour. And how do we reconcile that? Like, how do we know when? The other thing I would say too is if you're doing a sewer line, you're out there for 8 hours, you're not driving. For example, if you do that fill valve job, that basic minimal job, $450 an hour, you do bill out 1 hour, but it takes 2 hours of your day or an hour and 45 minutes of your day. You do that 4 times, you're 8 hours into the day. Okay, you're at 8 hours in. And that's it. In the other scenario, and you can only do 4 jobs because you're basically driving for 4 hours. In the other scenario, you're on a job site for 8 hours, doing 8 hours of work. So you're considerably doing more work in the second scenario than you are the first. And it's just like all that, no one's considering that when they come up with just one base number. Like, you got to charge this amount. I could also even go further. How are you figuring in that hourly rate? Is there bad decisions being wrapped up into that? Are you projecting lost opportunity? Like, what's your conversion rate in that scenario? Because, for example, if I'm working in a truck and someone else is working in a truck and I only need 1 call and I can sell 7 hours worth of work, and you need 4 calls to sell 4 hours worth of work, and taking up all 8 hours of your day, our burden rates comparatively are going to be different. So now my truck is charging the average hourly rate that the calculator says based off the other guy's bad performance. And then what happens tomorrow when someone quits or we add a truck? Or you have to go back and refactor that calculator and then go back and then charge the new hourly rate and then go back and change all your price. Like, it's just when is it right? When is it wrong? Where is it accurate? Where is it not? I mean, I could say right now, if I have a guy driving around town, $450, that's your hour. That's what it costs to be in business. So you charge that for 4 hours. Well, that's $1,800 of revenue. And if it's on 4 fill valves, you're looking at about $100 of material. So that's a $1,700 labor day. That's a pretty good day for a truck. It's a decent day. So it's like, how do we know where the number is? So I think a lot of people make this mistake right here. They don't consider the risk. And I think it's just it's important because if I got a guy in a sewer, if I'm in a ditch, the risk there associated with that versus doing a fill valve, my back, my body, just the risk of the job going wrong. And then if something does go wrong, we got to dig that back up versus a fill valve, 2 very different risk associations, not only with the work, but also with the risk of the work as it relates to my safety. So many different variables there, and we've got to understand that. How many of you get that first point? Let me know. I get the first point. Remember, we're doing $50 gift card, Visa gift card, right? And a merch pack for Comment of the Night. Comment of the Night was going to win $50. Last week, we gave away a couple gift cards. We gave away a $50 gift card and a $25 gift card. Also, just want to let you guys know, as you're thinking about margins, you're thinking about numbers, one of the things we talked about a week ago was this idea of tracking your numbers. We talked about capacity and we talked about margins. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a training on the margins, exactly what margins, on the metrics. We talked about KPIs and metrics, margins, capacity, KPIs and metrics. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a training where we talk about the metrics, where we break that down. Like, what metrics should you be looking at? Remember, KPIs are the result, metrics are the activities that lead to the result. And so what are the metrics that we're looking at and what do they tell us? And when they tell us, how do we fix it? I'm going to break all that down in a training. You can go to raisemyticketaverage.com/knowyournumbers to get that. I think that's also, when we talked about it last week, we mentioned Revolytics.ai. That's our one of our show sponsors. They're an amazing company that helps you with tracking these numbers, tracking these metrics, tracking these KPIs. And these are the kinds of things that really let you, if you want to know about Revolytics, just shoot us an email or go to Revolytics.ai and you can work with them directly. But great company. And they're going to show you exactly where your numbers are. So when we're talking about pricing and margins, all these things become a part of it. Like I said, if I convert on 1 call, if my conversion rate's 80% and my average ticket is $1,500 every time I go to a call, Someone else's conversion rate 60%. They're going to need a whole lot more leads. They're going to drive to a whole lot more houses. There's going to be more drive time, more risk on the road too while you're driving. You can get in accidents. You're using up fuel, all these different things. And so you start looking at that. You go, man, the burden rate is significantly different if the conversion rate is low. The burden, and so we just keep going on and on and on. You keep going on and on and on. Sup, Fresh Force, Miguel says. Wife and I started with Roto-Rooter, her in Fort Lauderdale, Chattanooga, myself. Good start for sure. Yeah, I love me some Tennessee, man. But I don't like your tornadoes. Oklahoma and Tennessee, you scare me. Minor rebuilds builds more value. I'm tracking. Makes sense. I smell what you're cooking. 50 Cent. 50 Cent. I don't know. Are we talking about like 50? Oh, 50 Cent. She sent 50 stars. I thought you were talking about 50 Cent. Don't know what you heard about me. $2.25 an hour, Henry says. Makes sense. Charge per foot on sewer line plus depending on digging conditions. But that doesn't translate over to now rebuilds and toilets. Nah, see, there's got to be a way that works consistently. That's how everyone else does it. If you go to a restaurant right now and they decide to put a new item on the menu, they're going to consider the cost. They're going to basically add up the food costs. They're going to add up everything that goes into that. They're going to have a margin that they need to make on it, and then that's going to determine the price that you see on the menu. Use the hourly rate as a guide. Try to find solutions to their problem and upsell what they need, but rather gain a customer than charge $4.50 for a fill valve. Sometimes you win, sometimes you gain a customer. How is, let's see here, watching. Grab your free spot. Okay, we're just kind of cycling through the comments. Can it auto feed so I can just be keeping up with them? Buy a liner, get a free toilet. I sell a new toilet before I do all rebuilds. I'm 33, doing $750,000 in residential plumbing sales and install a year, and I'm burnt out. What's next for me? Growth. The true thing about any owner out there is that we think we wear one hat, but we wear 1,000, and we got to start handing those hats off by bringing people into our life, casting a vision. You know, look, anyone can work anywhere, but when they can build something with someone, that's when it becomes a little bit more desirable for a rock star employee to want to go somewhere. They want to help build something. They want to be a part of something. They don't want to just get a check. I mean, that'll suffice if that's, but for the most part, the rock stars, they want to build something with you. They want to join something. They want to be in movement with you. Says you bypassed my question. I didn't see it. There was so many comments. They scrolled really fast. Barry, type it back in. Hello, Chris. This is Barry. The price per hour in the calculator has not changed in quite some time. Should it be adjusted for today's cost of business? That's a great question, Barry. No. So because our calculator is based off risk. So the reality is that most companies are either paying some sort of commission or they're paying some sort of hourly. And what I would tell the owners that are paying commission, as that amount reflects inside of the calculator, that's going to reflect the price, the price, which will affect the paycheck. And I'll explain that here in 1 second. But for those paying hourly, what you've done is you've locked in a fixed hard cost, and that's okay too. But the problem there, or the obstacle there, is you got to hold people accountable. If a truck goes out and only does $2,000 of revenue and you're locked into a fixed cost, that could be an issue. Now, I don't believe in sending guys out with these crazy price books and expecting them to go make conversions and make sales. So there's like kind of like this responsibility on both parties to honor the fact that business costs, time costs. And so we got to honor that in the home. But back to Barry on that hourly rate. No, we don't need to adjust that, because as inflation happens, as costs rise, typically fuel costs rise causes material to rise. And I've baked my risk in our calculator into more of the material and hourly rate as they rise together. So as you play with that calculator, and Barry, you've been in the program for a while, you've noticed the pricing has naturally gone up. When we first started doing this thing, 9 years ago, I think tanklesses were $4,800, $4,900, maybe even $5,000. Now you see them floating up into the $6,000 range, $5,500 to $6,500, depending on a bunch of variables. And it can even go higher than that if it's a crazy install or whatever. But you'll see that naturally rise. So I think when I first remember Navi and back when they were doing the Navi and 210s and 240Ss, and then they switched over to advanced, and then they went to the A2s much later. But back when they were just doing the 240As, $1,400 for a Navian, $1,200 for Navian. Last I checked, down in Atlanta, they were about $1,800 before additional materials. So you see that increase right there. And that's going to drive the calculator up because it's focused on risk. It's focused on risk. You don't need to know your overhead and split up the difference between service and install so you can charge more for bigger jobs but less for smaller to keep clients happier. No, we're going to break that down a little bit, but there's actually really something basic. In fact, it's point number 2. Bring it up really quick. Just on the bottom there. Yeah, lack of flexibility, and then go into that point. I want to jump right into it. Retail versus wholesale, which is kind of what you're talking about. Not every customer is the same. Going back to the earlier example when I said, if I'm in a truck and someone else is in a truck and I only need 1 call and I end up converting a bunch of work and they need 4 calls to convert a bunch of little jobs, that retail and wholesale rates can be different. Here's how I kind of attribute that. If you think about this, going into a convenience store at a little like 7-Eleven or Wawa or whatever, Speedway or what, AM, PM, I think I hit all the coasts. You go into those things and you get a little Red Bull or a little soda, it's going to be exponentially more margin, more expensive. Markup's going to be a lot higher because you're only buying one item. The volume of what you're buying is so low. But if you go to the grocery store and you buy a 12-pack or a 24-pack, you get a much better deal per unit. Well, in the same way, it should be the same way in plumbing. It's no different than getting a free side if you buy the steak versus just buying the side by itself at a restaurant. And I could keep going down the list. Things start to get exponentially better when things are bundled and packaged together. And that's true because of volume. So Pep Boys, buy 3 tires, get the 4th one free. Volume. Like they don't give you a deal on 1 tire, but they'll give you a deal if you buy 3 tires. And so it's the same kind of concept in our world with what we teach in our plumbing is that when you're going down this idea of like, well, all you're doing is buying 1 fill valve, that's exponentially more expensive on the business to drive out to that call, take that lead, buy that lead, probably from Google even, and to go through all the costs that go in associated just to get to the house, and then to only convert at $350, $300, $250, $400. It's, even that fill valve at $600 is going to be very profitable when you think about it by the minute and by the item, but it's going to be at some point so expensive that the customer is just like, I'm insulted, actually. You're trying to get me. You're trying to rip me off. You're trying to take advantage of me. And I think this is where we go south also when we diagnose the wrong things. Like when we're there for a sewer line, the line's still clogged up and we're like, you can get a tankless, you can get a softener. And it's like, well, it's not time for that. Maybe they could, but we need to deal with this mentally. We need to deal with the sewer line. So it kind of goes both ways. And you just can't rationalize this concept of, hey, look, if you're going to buy 1 fill valve, it's going to be way more expensive than if you buy 3 toilets. Now, the bill is going to be more. You're going to spend more money with my company, but per item, value-wise. Let me give you a quick return on investment calculator for the customer. Think about it like this. If the customer spends $300 with you on any kind of rebuild on a toilet, any whatever you come up with, flapper, fill valve, flapper, fill valve, flush valve, whatever your minor rebuild is on the back toilet, and you do that for the customer at $400, $300, we'll call it $300, they're going to get about $20 to $30 of parts that are left in the home. That means of their money, only 10% stay to the home. Now, even if you charge something, I think $1,000 is a lot for a toilet. I think our calculator put it in the 8th. If it's like a $250 Cadet Pro or Gerber Viper or something like that, if you're installing something like that, maybe a Toto Entrada, you're even at $1,000, there's still $250 of parts staying in the home. 25% of their money staying in the home. That's a better return on investment for them. Now, we can get into all these different kinds of thoughts. I know someone's like, what if the toilet's only 2 years old? Well, then okay, well, that's different. But then I'd be like, well, why is it failing after only 2 years? Is it a cheap toilet? Can they upgrade and not have to deal with this no more? What's their time worth? And you start wrapping all these things up, like convenience, and what's the value of that? And so that's where I'm so big on this idea of like, you got to have some flexibility in your price book to know when to hold them, when to fold them. I'm just joking, but you got to know when to be able to say, hey, this is a retail customer and this is a wholesale customer. If I go to a customer's house and they want me to put elements in their water heater, better yet, if they want me to put a new gas control valve on a 10-year-old water heater, that's like shopping at the convenience store with me. But if you want me to convert you to a tankless and put in a softener to protect the tankless, that's like you're shopping at Costco now with me. And I want my calculator, my own personal price book in my company, I want it to reflect the ability and flexibility for my staff to know when to do that, and also for my business to know when to do that. See, that's what you got to wrap your mind around, is it's not just a locked in, this idea of add-ons for 10% off, it's not moving the needle. At some point, people are just egregiously spending a bunch of money and they're not getting any return on investment. What's the point? Why not just wait? I'll do it when it fails. And we got to understand this. This is a big concept in plumbing that I think a lot of people miss, is this concept of having flexibility in your price book so you can maneuver between, hey, it's going to be a retail job, it's going to be a wholesale job. What about that middle ground, that grocery store pricing? And so that's why we got to understand these things. And in our blueprint, like when people join our program, what ends up happening is they go through a master class on this calculator to see how there's actually 3 different lines in there. It's just a matter of how we diagnose the home. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it is a powerful way of using that calculator, multidimensional, so that you could say, hey, look, no matter who's in my company, no matter who's going to that call, we can be consistent. And we can even understand that, hey, this is a retail customer. This is a, what we would call a grocery store, convenience store, grocery store, and Costco. You know, where does the customer fall? We've got parameters for that. It's really important to have something for your team to be able to know when they can do that. Devin says, I love add-ons and bundles. Devin Cooper, so do my customers. I try to give 3 to 4 options. Let's put a strike through on that 4 and just keep it at 3. Me and you could be friends. Most of the time, they will go with the middle option over minimum repair, 100%. I found something magical about giving people 3 viable options. If you give them the option to do all that they called you out there for, that's keeping the integrity, so you're not talking them into extra stuff. But then you give them other choices too. Yeah, I see on the internet a lot of people go back and forth between roots and the sewer line. Do you have to replace the sewer line? Do you not have to replace the sewer line? Can you line the sewer line? There's a lot of options. And I'm not a believer that just because roots got in there, you got to rip the whole earth up. But we're on the front end of something here. And so you can do a lot of maintenance things like jetters. You can restore the line for a period of time. You could line the line if it's still salvageable, if it's all, or you could replace, you could do all these things, but I don't think it's our decision. I think we need to educate the customer and say, hey, look, here's one route to go. You're going to be more at a retail price point. We're going to kind of do what we can do here to get you more time. Or we can move into a more permanent solution, or we can move into a forever solution. And you start just having that conversation with it. And customers are all different. Some will say, hey, times are tough. I got to do the bare minimum right now just to get by. Okay, cool. I want to do the bare minimum too for you. And I want to help you out as much as I can. I want to get you back up and running. But for those who are like, hey, I don't have time to mess with this. I'm traveling every other week. I'm doing, some people they're like, hey, you know what? Don't come out here and jet this line every year. Like, let's just get this thing ripped up, replaced. I don't have to think about it for another ever. Everyone's different. People love themselves a deal to a point where they look for stuff to do more in the house. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Look, if your options make sense, Texas explains them correctly in the service manager. I'm not sure what that all is. 3 options allow customers to choose. Product knowledge is necessary, Mr. Potty Plumbing says. Dustin Howell said 3 options allow a customer to choose. Who won last time we did the show? Was it Dustin? Or was it somebody else? It was the Austins. I always try to give 3 options. Oh no, I always do give 3 options. Transparency with customers has done a lot for me and my sales. That's Josh with, can't read it, it's too small. With the telly, Joshy with the telly. That's funny, 7972. Coming in from YouTube. All right, look, number 1, we're not factoring the risk correctly. We're over here trying to we're trying to be all business and lock in these burden rates. And man, stop, slow down, everybody. You can go download the calculator on Apple for free. We give you the answer. It's the Plumbing Sales Coach. I know if you're on Droid, you're like, where's it at? One day. But go get the calculator, play with it, whatever. Some people the hourly is not enough. The markup's not enough. The markup's too much. The hourly is too much. But all I know is a guy like Anytime Plumbing on here running about $6 to $8 million worth of revenue through it, like clockwork, making net profit. So you can question it all day long, or you can just try it and see how it works. Knowledge is key. Customers are happy nowadays, so they'll know if you're being honest or not. 100%. Dustin says, yeah, I didn't win Best Comment last week. Yeah, look, I'll tell you, this whole thing, about charging more and all that, it's not about getting your numbers right. It's about getting the customer experience right. And then you build trust in the home, and then they can let you Educate them. When you educate them, sometimes people want to invest in their home. They want to upgrade. They like the newer things in life. I can't stand it. They didn't need it. Well, they probably didn't need their car to get traded in and replaced after 2 to 4 years. I mean, honestly, for playing that game, no one should be allowed to buy. Everyone should go buy a brand new car and never replace it for 10 to 12 years. Because I see all kinds of cars on the road that are 12 and 15 and 20 years old. You don't have to keep driving it. Why do you have to? Why do you have to keep the old water? We don't get as many showers out of it as we want to. All they needed was elements. Well, did you give them an option to make it bigger or do a booster? No, they didn't need it. Based on what? Based on what? Okay, got to know the risk. If you don't know the risk, you're guessing. And the second one, you have to understand your margins. This is going to create a trap for you. You have no flexibility at all if you don't know your margins. You'll be locked into a rate. You'll be locked into this, a burn rate or whatever. You'll freak out every time that you didn't charge enough, and you'll trip over dollars trying to get to dimes. I see it happen all the time. I just did a training the other day with a group of people, and it was like, would you guys give away a free, would you take 35% off? I think is what I said. They're like, heck no, I'd never take 35% off. That's crazy, Chris. Why would you take 35% off? And I'm like, because I don't like money. I like to lose money. Like what? Hear me on this. I did this simple example. Same one I did earlier. You drive out to a house. Let's say you're $350 for a fill valve. Let's say your rebuild on a toilet is $350. Fill valve, flapper, fill valve only. I don't care. Flapper only, whatever you want it to be. $350 for a rebuild. So you go to the home, you tell the customer, hey, you need to rebuild your toilet. Your toilet's 20 years old. They've got 2 other bathrooms in the house, and the other toilets are 20 years old. So I could replace that one fill valve for $350, or fill valve, flush valve, whatever, $350. I'm going to drive out there for a half hour. I'm going to be there for about 20 or 30 minutes diagnosing. I'm going to convert the job, collect the signature, start the work, probably get done by, a half hour later. So it's 8 to 8:30 to get there, 8:30 to 9 to convert, 9 to 9:30 to do the work, 9:40 to clean up, collect payment, and get out of there, 9:45. Or I can do the other 2 toilets and only probably be there for another 20 minutes to do the other 2 toilets. You all know what I'm saying? Now I'm there for another half hour. And if I only charged for one of the other 2 toilets, I just now doubled my ticket and it only cost me a half hour. That's 65% off, right? Because I did 2 of the toilets at full price and the 3rd toilet for free. That's $700 for 3 rebuilds. If my price is $350, it's just an example. So $350 for the first one, my customer's like, screw you, I hate you, you're too expensive. If I say, I'll do 2 and do 1 for free, they're like, I love you, Chris, where you been my whole life, you're the best. I make more money doing it at $700, and if I'm on any kind of results-based economy, any kind of commission, anything like that, the company makes more money, and the customer gets a better bang for their buck. But if you don't understand the flexibility side of your margins, that's scary to take 35% off. In fact, it's irresponsible. Now, I would never discount down the first. What I'm saying is stack on, value stack on. It's a magical concept. I watch trucks do. I'm talking about guys who normally would be at 60% conversion, $400 or $500 ticket averages, $6,000, $7,000 a week in revenue on their truck. They're doing like clockwork, 80 and 90% conversion rate. In fact, we got companies in our program that are they're bragging about 96%, 92%, 94% conversion rates throughout their weakest guy to their best guy. Like, that's crazy. And they're averaging $1,200, $1,500 a call. And by the way, those are what, like $1,200. Is that a job? No, that's like every time they dispatch, including the zeros, that's what they're averaging when it's all said and done. That's crazy. Crazy. It's crazy. Plus no driving for 3 hours. I would much rather solve problems than drive. Let's go, Heath Britt. Don't know what that means, but Heath Britt. There's a comment. I got to start working my way down the other way, right? I'm backwards. I'm like, the upgrades are in their home. Comes after the relationship is built. Customers don't really care about price. They care about what kind of person is. I completely agree, sir. That's literally the epitome of what we believe here. You give somebody a great customer experience by building consumer confidence because they have confidence in you. They have confidence in your diagnosing, your ability to communicate, your professionalism. You have a price book that's convertible and profitable, meaning it makes money, but it's also convertible. It's something that's appealing to a customer. Grand slam. I used to say it all the time back in the day. If you can provide a Disney World experience at a Magic Mountain price, you put them both out of business. You 100%. They can't compete with that. These are the three biggest mistakes I see when you're making pricing in your service. The first one was not understanding the risk. The second one was not having flexibility in your pricing. And we talked about margins. And we talked about hourly rate in the first point. We talked about margins in the second rate. If you guys want to learn more about this, tomorrow I'm doing something on Podium. I'm going to be on Podium's show tomorrow talking about this a little bit and some other things. You guys want to check that out. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'm doing a free training for anyone that wants to come in. You know, like the show, I don't really get the chance to interact with you. So I thought I'd invite you guys in to a Zoom. It would just be us. We'll kind of go through the metrics and KPIs and what the metrics need to be in the business. This is really more for service plumbing owners and what the metrics need to be and what it means. Now, if you're a service plumber and you want to come check it out, you're more than welcome, because I am going to break down metrics as an opportunity average, conversion rates and all this, and when they're low, what they should be, and when they're low, what you do to fix them. And I can't wait to do this, because it's going to be huge for you if you're an owner specifically. If you're a technician out in the field, it's going to be huge for you and your ability to perform and to understand where you're struggling. This is going to be huge. Go sign up for that. It's free. Totally free. No strings attached. I just wanted to do something to kind of give back and show you guys and make sure that you understand what's going on. Normally we reserve that for like the paid trainings, but I was like, man, let's just do one time. I cannot wait. We also got something really cool that we're about to announce tomorrow. We already started filling seats. We only have 10 seats for it. It's going to be a personalized live event here in Indianapolis. I cannot wait. 10 companies, no more than that. We've already filled up some of the seats, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a small room. Got to be at least doing at least $2 million in revenue to even be able to come. In fact, you got to apply to come to this. We're not just going to sell it. But I'm telling you, we're going to break down marketing and sales, like to go to 10. We want to get you to 10 figures. We want to get, or 8 figures. We want to get you to that $10 million and above mark. And that's going to be phenomenal. Can't wait. We're doing that here actually live in our location, our headquarters. I don't know if that's not out until tomorrow, so we don't have any way for them to apply. But tomorrow, pay attention. We're putting that out as first come, first serve. We only have 10 seats. A couple of them already filled, so it is what it is. But cannot wait to put that out. That's exciting. Okay, look, the third point, the third mistake. Gosh, man, I see this. This is where we do this. You ever heard the term of when you're running a race to not look left and right, but to keep your head forward? Swimmers, keep your head forward. Same with business. This comparison game. We're like, well, this guy's charging that, and this person's charging that. And it's like, what are we doing here? What has that got to do with it? Now you're going to put your business in that person's ability to understand pricing. And I mean, no disrespect like this, but there is a lot of bad information in home services, specifically in service plumbing, as it relates to margin and pricing. And so if you're following the lead of someone else who's following the lead of someone else who's following the lead of someone else, holy moly, that's scary. That's such a big mistake. I think we have a model for this one too, don't we? Let me show you this example. Stop looking at what others charge that you could get and start calculating your actual margin. I guess it was more of a point we made. You got to start looking at your margins. That's how you determine. Look, I'm telling you, there are things you're doing in your price book that are keeping you from having the volume breakthrough you need to be able to be successful. And if we keep playing this game of just enough, what happens is it becomes a transactional relationship with our consumers. And that people can feel that. They know that. In fact, if I'll just tell you guys, we charge a lot for our coaching program. And I have no problem making things right with anyone because I'm not worried about my money. My money is good. My margins are good. I don't need to worry about, well, okay, let's only do this for them because they only paid this much. After that, I can't do it. No, we can do whatever we need to do because I'm solution-based. Plumbing should be solution-based. Coaching should be solution-based. You're not paying for time. You're not paying for materials. You're paying for solutions. And that's what you should be providing. That's why I believe in not flat rate, but upfront pricing. Not every water heater should be the same price. Not every softener is the same install. But I do believe in upfront pricing. This is what you'll pay when we're done. Aside from any unforeseen, impossible situations. Like, for example, if I sell a clean out to someone and I go start digging that up and realize I got nothing good to connect to, we got to escalate the job. It's going to have to go up. It is what it is. I might have to replace more of the sewer line or all the sewer line. That's just an example. If I pull the toilet and go put a new toilet down, but the flange is shot, that's going to affect the job price. But if the toilet takes me an extra 20 minutes because the toilet took me an extra 20 minutes, I'm not changing the price. Just like if I got done a little faster, I'm not changing the price. I never, you will be judged by what you sell. When you sell a job because it's hard, when you sell a job because it's difficult, the customer wants it to be hard and difficult. If you sell a job on the idea it's going to take a lot of time, then it better take a lot of time. See, I don't do that. That's not the expectation I set. In fact, usually when I convert, I'll say, okay, which one makes the most sense to you? And they look at them and they say, well, option 2 makes the most sense. Let me ask you this. If we wanted to move the softener to option 2, what would that look like? I go, okay, but here's what it would be. And they say, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. I go, great. Let me go ahead and get a signature from you right here. Cool, now here. No guarantees, but I'm hoping I can get this done for you in about half a day. If it takes me a little bit longer, don't worry, I'm not going to charge you extra. But I'm going to try to get it done for you sooner so we can get you back to your life. Now my customer's rooting for me. And if you don't believe me, that is how it works. Now my customer's rooting for, man, you got it done in like 2 hours. Thanks, Chris. Not like it only took you 2 hours. Why'd you charge me? Indiana, put that back up. Southwood Plumbing out of Naptown. I'm in Naptown, bro. CJ Owens, what's up? I think discounts are better than free work, right? No. But I don't know how you mean that, Miguel. I know you're in the program and you pretty much are a killer, so I don't know how you mean that. But just to be clear, I believe that, like, for example, I wouldn't give, in the example I gave earlier with the fill valves, I wouldn't say, let me rebuild 1 toilet or let me do 3 toilets for 35% off or 33% off. I would say, I'll tell you what, let me knock out 2 of these and I'll just do the 3rd one for free. So like you pay for 2 and I'll do the last one, no charge. That's how I would communicate it. People are already mentally equipped and wired for buy one, get one half off. Like that's how the world works everywhere else. Buy 3, get 1 free. Like, so that's what I usually try to do is communicate it that way. It's 50% gross margins respectable for wholesale. That would be my lowest. I would really, a lot of companies that I work with can push it up to 55, 56, even 60. 60 is kind of where we're getting a little out of hand. That's great and all, but for service plumbing, it's like, where are you messing? What are you doing there? Mike, yeah, we'll reach out, bro, 100%. You said for a chimney company doing $3 million. I know chimney work is basically like lining, which we've been talking a lot about on here. You're a former plumbing. I could easily see you making the correlation. Good Golly Garage Doors and Kinsey Plumbing, Heating, and Air has arrived. We talked about you earlier, Brian. We talked about you earlier. I didn't mention Good Golly, Miss Molly, but I did mention Kinsey Plumbing. Good golly, Miss Molly, I love it. Good golly, Garage Doors. But we did talk about me and you a little bit. I told everyone the truth about you. You need to go back and watch the show, bro. I told them everything. Everything, dude. I didn't tell them anything. Don't start commenting. I'm joking. Yeah, look, man, I'm telling you, 50% gross profit's great. You want to be at a 22 to 26% net. That's hard to do, though, because a lot of times you look at these 22 to 26% nets and you try to achieve it by raising your prices, but that's not how you achieve that. You achieve that with the right pricing, but volume. You need volume. I could sell a rebuild for $1,000, a toilet rebuild, crazy price, like something about rip someone off. And it's a $20 part, and I made $980. My margins are amazing. But then she tells everyone I'm a ripoff artist. I get no more calls, and I only do $1,000 of revenue for the week, and I still lose money. My gross was great. My net was crap. I work for Brotherhood Plumbing in Louisiana, and just listening to your shorts has helped me tremendously. I love it, Josh. Joshua Jones. 65% in service plumbing isn't the rule of thumb you go by. It is not. For gross, nah. Because usually at that point, we're either underpaying someone or we are over marking up things and we're now affecting our ability to convert it at a massive level. In fact, let me play that out for you, Jake. Let's say you do $7,000 of revenue at 65% gross margin. That's probably a terrible number. 8,000. Let's go with 8,000. Easier numbers. I'd pick some stupid hard number. Shoot, I better go 10. I better go 10 so I can keep these numbers right for me. So you get to keep 6,500. I assume, Jake Millen, you're talking about gross profit, so that's COGS. That means you're taking out material, subs, permits, and anything like that. And then you're also equipment rentals, everything like that. And then you're also taking out your labor for the work. That would be the labor that goes into there. And so that would be your COGS, cost of goods and services, cost of work. I call it job costing. That's what Service Titan had a report way back in the day for those that remember. So that's what I use. And if you go at 65%, a lot of times I feel like you can start to miss out. Now, there's going to be variables to this. If you're heavy and drain, heavier in that kind of a reality, your gross profits could be higher. But if you're more of a residential service plumber, doing installs in the home, tanklesses, softeners, that kind of thing, you can start to see that gross profit slip away, but the volume of revenue starts to make up for that. So you just need to understand that too. There's a guy by the name of Blair Goulas, who I coach, Next Plumbing out of Louisiana. Big shop now. They've been in business for about 3-4 years. They're crushing it. $5-6 million company, and really great team there. Really great people there. But one of the things for them is that they have this really cool it's an accountant that they use, but it's really cool software, and it shows what I'm talking about. It shows clear as day, like when you do this amount of revenue, it affects your net profit more drastically over here than it does over here. So gross profit is a good guideline. It's a good measuring stick, but gross profit doesn't tell the whole story. You need to have net profit. At the end of the day, that's the only number that really does matter. And there's a lot of ways to affect that. I could easily argue that the gross profit for 7-Eleven is higher than the gross profit for a transaction with Costco, but Costco is doing exponentially more volume and revenue and product than a 7-Eleven. And so you just start thinking about it like that, and it gets a little, there's just more than one way to get there. And my whole thing is like, there's more than one way to get there, but one integrity I'm not willing to sacrifice while I get there is the customer experience. And so then that becomes the rub. So I'm going to stick it at 55% gross profit and 22 to 26% net profit, 25 being the sweet spot, 50 being the sweet spot on gross profit. And then the last 25% goes to running your business on a month-to-month basis as far as, and that's the other thing about hourly, we kind of like spend the money and then we try to recoup it and charge a higher hourly amount because of bad spending. If you want to drive around Lamborghinis doing service plumbing, your hourly, and you factor that into your hourly rate, no one's going to do any work with you. That would depend on your guarantees. No, a 1-year warranty versus a 5-year warranty creates much greater liabilities than you have to account for. What's a good rebuttal besides a warranty when it comes to customer choosing company, providing material versus, what's a good rebuttal? This is a good one. What's a good rebuttal besides a warranty when it comes to customer choosing company provided material versus customer supplied material? Yeah, great point. So there is going to be, you got to let them know about the warranty. I can't dance around that. That's a major piece to this whole thing. But then that sets me up for the real conversation. For example, I'll say, hey, look, no problem. I'm going to get all your stuff installed. Let's say they got 3 faucets there and a toilet. And they're like, they've even got them. I've helped a lot of people package water heaters back up and send them back to Lowe's. But let's just say they got 3 faucets and the toilet sitting there. And they say, hey, Chris, what would it cost to install these? I said, tell you what, I'm going to give you an option to install these. I'm going to make sure that I give you the pricing for everything. I need to do a couple things before I can give you that price. I want to make sure I can shut water off to this. So I go around and start doing my diagnosing assessment. I check their angle stops or straight stops for that faucet or that toilet. And then I'm going to check the main, because I always want to make sure I know where the main is. Even if the angle stops, straight stops are working, I want to have a backup to the backup. How many times have we shut something off and it didn't really shut something off? So I just want to make sure I'm good there. And typically I find things, I'll find some things. If they're replacing their faucets, I know there's always that one time where they've been in the home for 2 years and they just want to redo it all. But usually they're replacing their faucets because they're old. And so I probably got some old plumbing I'm looking at and whatnot. Now I might start getting into, if I start seeing sediment or water condition issues, I might get into a light, like, hey, have you ever thought about protecting this stuff with like a softener or something like that? They say, no, I hate softeners are the devil. I move on, whatever. So I get through with all my assessment. I'm going to have a couple other minor things that I found. Even if it's not major, I'm going to have a couple shutoffs, couple somethings. Maybe inferior shutoffs, whatever. I'm going to find something. We all know I'm going to find something. So you're going to find something as well, just from diagnosing. Just right there between the shutoffs, the main, pressure, and water condition, I'm going to find something. So I get into this and I say, hey, look, what I can do is let me give you an option for all of yours. I do have to give you an option for ours. I always made a company policy at my companies. You had to give options. If they had customer supplied, we always had to give them company supplied just to document the warranty difference. And I would tell the customer, hey, look, just so we can document the warranty difference, I do have to give you an estimate for our supplied, but no problem, we can do yours. And that was my best shot at letting them at least just see the price difference. And then what I would say from there is the warranties are different, so we have to document it. Do you know why the warranties are different? I would ask the customer, and they'd say, oh, because I'm providing it. I said, well, that's part of it. Did you know that? And then I'll kind of usually break down things. Now, if I'm diagnosing early on before, whether I know it's owner supplied or whether I do know or don't know, I'm still assessing things based off what I'm seeing. So I'll let them know, like, oh, hey, What brand did you get? Oh, okay, cool. Where'd you get that from? I'm asking them those questions. And then I let them know the difference in material. How many of you have taken a Lowe's faucet, the same brand at the supply shop, and you know they're built different? They have a different weight to them. You can look at the Badger 5, you can look at the Badger 5 XL. So the Badger 5, I think it's called the XL now, at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's got the galvanized versus the stainless steel, and there's variations to these products. The manufacturers are making them cheaper for the big box stores and whatnot. So I educate the customer on that. And oftentimes I'll use something unrelated. Like I'll be like, I don't know if you knew this, but at Walmart, the Goodyear tires are actually made off a different line than all the other Goodyear tires. And so I'm just helping them understand how that all works. So there's an education piece going into this before I ever get to the point of, let me give you the options and let me give you an option for our stuff and all that. The other thing I do is I'll typically take those little issues that I found and I'll say, look, option 1, let's do your items. Option 2, let's do your stuff plus a couple of the other little issues I found. And option 3, let's do our stuff. And if it's a couple shutoffs, shoot, I'll be like, look, I'm going to charge you for the full retail price of our faucets and our toilet, but I'm going to throw in maybe $600 or $800 worth of shutoffs for free because there's 3 or 4 shutoffs and they get swapped out. Heck, maybe I do all 7, 2 on each faucet and then the 1 on the toilet. That's 7 shutoffs. You're looking at $250 a shutoff on any given Sunday, meaning if I come out there or maybe on any given Tuesday, if I come out there on a Tuesday and replace one of these shutoffs, it's probably $250 to $350. But while I've already got your system bled down, while I'm already doing anything else, and if you're going to invest in your plumbing and use our equipment, we can warranty it. I'll just take care of your shutoffs for you. It's a great value stack to say, hey, look, you really need this stuff. I'll do it your way. But if you start thinking about the pricing, owner supplied faucets and toilet plus 6, 7 shutoffs is probably going to be around the same price as company supplied faucets and toilet, and maybe you knock out the shutoffs at no charge. It's just so much. There's so many conversations. There's so many different things you can say and stack. And again, every call is a little different because it depends on, if I get into a softener conversation, that becomes a lot. I mean, that gets a lot easier to now. That creates more margin. That creates more volume to allow me to be able to adjust on my retail and wholesale and how I'm going to go about that call. Hopefully that answered your question. But you have to talk about warranty because that establishes quality. And once you have a quality conversation with your customer about the two, that's when the magic is, that's when the rubber hits the road. When to offer same day service, when they accept the premium option. When you're just a one-man company, should you reschedule your other customers or schedule a premium option for another day? Yeah, when you're one man, that's tough, man. But I'm one call at a time kind of guy. So I'm gonna knock the work out. Now, let's say I've got a call, customer calls me out. Depends on if they have an active problem or not. There's been times where I'll take care of the active problem, schedule the job for another, maybe tomorrow, run the rest of my day, knock out there, collect half the money up front, cover the repair, plus whatever I'm coming back for the next day. You can kind of get creative like that. But you always got to take care of their active problem. If maybe they're just like, I just want to get quotes, I'm calling around and I'm getting pricing on new water heaters. You go out, they really like you. You know what? Let's do it with you. I say, hey, I'll tell you what, I can actually give you a little bit of a price break if I can do this tomorrow. I'd even be willing to do that to give them a little bit of a reason to wait so I can run that other call. But every situation is a little bit different. Hopefully that answers your question. What I'm not a big fan of is rescheduling people, period. To me, it's not rescheduling. If I go to your home and you got a minor problem, we decide to actually do a lot more work. I take care of your minor problem. We're just scheduling the new stuff. So I feel good about that than making someone who's been waiting for me to come all day. Then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm not coming. It just never sits well with me. It's a strong skill to have. And once it's mastered, that's a game changer. Yeah, value stacking is crucial. Yeah, Aquaflush, he says, I keep Delta faucets on my truck. That's a great idea. Turn the revenue before you worry about sales if possible. That's service. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Too many plumbers lack product knowledge and do nothing to figure it out. Oh my gosh. And product knowledge isn't limited to plumbing. There's also the people. You got to learn the people. Say it for the people louder in the back. The only time I reschedule is weekends if I don't have materials for said job. The only time I don't ever schedule is weekends. If you're a plumbing business owner and you want to get out of on-call, I can show you. Promise. The only time look, guys, this whole thing, price book and pricing and all, it's just all part of the recipe for a great customer experience. Someone said earlier, people don't care about the price as long as they like you. And I think that's so true, to a point. But that's so true. Like if I go to restaurants and I know I'm paying outrageous prices for some of these meals, but man, I know the staff, I know the servers, I know, like, I feel welcome there. I feel like they appreciate, you know, it's like, well, Chris, they're just taking, who cares? I'm going for the experience. I can cook at home. Joey, is that Joey? That's not Joey Cisneros. When you give those shutoffs, are you stacking the value or are you cutting yourself short? When you give those shutoffs values, are you stacking the value? No, I stack them. So like the customer is going to see like, okay, option one, let's just say 3 owner supplied faucets is, let's just call it like 300 and something bucks or so. I don't know. For fun, just simple math. I don't want to get killed right now. 300 bucks a faucet, it's 900 bucks. And then let's say the toilet's another 300 bucks to install. So we're at 1,200 bucks for these 4 things. It's made up numbers. I don't care what your number, whatever your number is, 1,200 bucks. And then I go, and then you got 7 shutoffs. That's 250 bucks a shutoff. You're another 1,750. So 1,200. So option one's 1,200. Option two is 2,950. Well, maybe my 3 faucets out of my price book with me supplying it is, you know, $700. These are lavatory faucets. Maybe they're $750 a piece. I'm just making numbers up again. We're at $2,250. The toilet's another $800. So we're at like $3,000, and they get $1,750 worth of shutoffs at no charge. So it's like, dang, now they have to start going, do I want to spend, you know, $1,400 or $1,200 bucks or whatever the option one price is and leave the problems? Do I want to spend $2,900 bucks and take care of the problems, but have my inferior product? Or do I want to spend the $3,100 with this company? And people are like, yeah, but you could have made more. No, you're missing the point. The $3,100 then solidifies no buyer's remorse. Customers happy. They're getting the deal of a lifetime. They love you. They love everyone. You're there for 4, 5, 6 hours. You had a great little day. You're on your way home. 1 call. Like I said, tripping over dollars to get to dimes. I see you're charging for the shutoff when they don't go with your marked up product and with warranty. Yeah, correct. Now, when you say with your marked up product, well, I'm with my product versus their product. Because if I'm going to install my product, I've got to mark my part up because I got a warranty. I got to stand behind it. If it floods that house, I'm the one they're coming to. Show me fresh. I want to grow. Meerkat. I like that name. Meerkat. That's tight. When they appreciate you as a person, they also tend to value your service and experience, and it definitely makes selling the job a lot easier. Oh my gosh, Lewis. So true. I mean, you're really creating a relationship, so you're not really cutting yourself short because you could possibly obtain, you're gonna be their plumber forever. Not only that, think about this. If all you did was owner supplied, good job. You did it. Commodity. I expected you to do it. You didn't. I'm not telling the world like this guy came in and was amazing. He installed my owner supplied faucet and did it right and didn't flood my house. No one's telling that story. But everyone's telling the story. Yeah, you didn't save $1,750. Everyone's telling that story. So now you got marketing. You're getting marketing out of it. I'm telling you, and the review will be a novel. It won't be like 5 stars. They were great. It'll be like, Chris came to my house. He petted my dog. He was amazing. Our kids go to the same school. Like, it'll just be like, it'll be a novel. It'll be a novel. Look, this is the lifetime value of a customer is so much more than that one moment. But we also have to be profitable. And you have to charge, you have to move product in order for you to stay in business so you can warranty the stuff that you moved last week and the month before and the year before and the decade before. You got to stand behind this stuff. And so there's a responsibility and liability to that, and you have to charge for that. It's unfortunate. It's confusing for people because they see it as a commodity. That's why you got to get yourself out of the box. Stop driving around charging $300 for fill valves or using that calculator and getting up to $450 for fill valves. No one's happy. No one's excited when you come in their house and just do the most basic repair. I don't care what the price is. You can almost do it for free and they'd still be annoyed. It's when you give them education and value and an experience and they save some money. They probably have to spend money to save money, but they got to, it's just everything in the world worth having costs money. There's no way around that. And I'm so lost on these ideas of people who constantly say things like, well, they didn't need it. Says who? I have a 5-year-old home. Home Heroes is my plumber here in Indianapolis. They probably have done, well, I know they've done $20,000 worth of plumbing in my house. You're like, on what, Chris? I ripped out a 75, I got 8 kids, so work with me here. But we ripped out a 75-gallon power vent and put in a tankless. And then I had a second tankless because in Indiana, it can get cold here in the winter and the water comes in. So I added crazy filtration system, Sterling. And then I went and added an RO, and then I went and added an Instahot. And then my wife was like, we went to Vegas and she saw what smart seats were, and then we put one of those on her toilet, and now she's like, oh, you can just talk to the faucet and she's crazy. But I know this, man, they just keep coming and we keep upgrading, and they're not selling. Heck, I remember one time Vince, the owner, I sent him the options before they even came to my house. I was like, here, I used the calculator. Here's what. Joey, there he is. I definitely thrive off my customers' value in me. I want them to see me as someone to help them, not smash them over the head with many estimates as I can. No, 3. Rebuild, repair, replace, upgrade, or today, tomorrow, forever. How can I fix your problem for today? How can I fix it for tomorrow? How can I fix it forever? Another way to look at it is, what do they want? That's what they called me out here for. What do they need? That's the additional things I found. And what do I recommend? That's some other things they might do that might make their lives better. My man, fresher than fresh. Dude, I did it, Joey. It's been a year. I landed that one, dog. Let everyone know I landed it. I'm in Caesars Casino. I'm in Caesars in Vegas. And I hear my man fresher than like it was coming over the loudspeakers, but it wasn't. It was just Joey, my boy, with an entourage. He had like 15 people behind him. Like, what's up? What's up? But you don't mess with Joey. He and Brandon, he hoodwinked us one time, put us on a stunt plane. My boys. He says, do you own your own plumbing company? Currently, I do. Do you do? No. Nah, no. My wife, so here's the thing. I'm busy, man, right? Also, I don't want to do it no more. But my wife was like, I don't know, she got in this mood. She just wanted to see me do some plumbing one time. I was like, why are we doing this? That was the last time I did plumbing. And then not that long ago, I have a journeyman card in my as a carpenter when I was younger, from the union down in Louisiana for whoever was on here from Louisiana, Mississippi and Louisiana. And she wanted me to build these raised garden beds. And I was like, can we just pace it? Like, what is happening right now? And she just wanted to see me do it. Yo, where can I get a fresh hat at? You've been commenting tonight. I like you and Lewis. I got hats for both of you guys. Message in to the plumbing sales coach. And Lewis and CJ Owens, I got hats for you guys. Message into the plumbing sales coach. We'll hook you guys up. Let's do the Visa gift card giveaway. We're doing a $50 gift card away for comment of the night, and then we'll probably drop a couple more comments or a couple more gift cards away before we end. Just here, we're coming up to an end. Really quick, while we're waiting on that, you're picking comment of the night. While we're doing that, we got 2 big things coming up. Tomorrow, I'm doing a free training. Go check it out. You can go to raisemyticketaverage.com/knowyournumbers, and you can register for that. It's going to be all about metrics. So how to measure the metrics for your team. And then if you are a service plumber, this is how to measure your own metrics, and then what you do about making them better. Like literally, I'm going to show you guys, for example, conversion rate when it's low. What are the actions? Why is it low? Where is it failing? I can show you. And it's not as, I just see it all the time. So the patterns are there. I'm going to show you guys. I want you guys to see this. I think it'll be a huge step forward in your game. If you're a service plumbing owner, this is going to be really big for you, because you're not only going to see the metrics of your team, but also of your company, and how you can kind of avoid maybe having to increase your hourly rate because the burden rate's going up because of other things that could be controlled. I cannot wait to do that. The second one is, we're not announcing it till tomorrow, but pay attention, is coming out. 10 seats. We're doing a 2-day workshop with just me here at our location. It's just for owners, service plumbing owners. You got to be doing at least $2 million in revenue to be able to come. There's an application. You got to go through that process. That'll be announced. Somehow we've already filled some of the seats on the back end because I don't even know how that happened, but it happened. So we don't have too many seats left, but we're only starting out with 10 to begin with. That's going to be a big deal. 2 days. We're going to have dinner, lunch, and everything together, basically living together for 2 days and just pouring everything I know into you about marketing and sales and business and entrepreneurship and home services, and how to establish yourself in the marketplace, how to make that phone ring, how to really convert those calls, and how to really be profitable and scale and grow and do all the things that you want to do. Get your life back so it's not running you into the ground. I cannot wait to announce that. That's coming up. What would you say is a good closing rate? So Travis, great question. I think in ServiceTitan it's called conversion rate, opportunity rate, whatever. I like to call it solve rate. So like if you send me to 10 calls, you're sending me to 10 problems. How many of those did I solve? And so I always say the bare minimum is 80%. You really want to be at that 85% mark or higher. So that means if I go to 10 calls in a week, 8 of them let me do actual work. And I don't consider cutting a hole open in the wall for $185 a conversion. That's just additional diagnosis. And so I don't count that as actual conversion. So I'd actually have to fix the problem to count that as a conversion. Yeah, right on. Okay. Comment of the night. Flash up on the screen. Take Travis off so Travis is not confused. Won't let you? What you mean? Oh, it's too long ago? Okay, give it to me. That's all right. Give it to me. Here we go. Dun, dun. The upgrades in their home come after the relationship is built. Customers really don't care about price. They care about what kind of person is walking in the door. Heath Britt, if you're still on here, you just want a $50 Visa gift card and also a merch pack. We're going to get that out to you. Send us a message and our team will get that, your address, and we'll get everything sent out to you. Congratulations. Conversion should be anything over your basic pricing. No, conversion, for me, conversion is always going to be if we solve the problem. Because if I collect money, let's say I go out to a home and I charge them $800 or $900 to do additional diagnosing. I don't know, maybe a smoke test or I don't know, just something more complex. I didn't really solve their problem. They're going to be out $800, $900 and they're going to be unsolved. And I'm going to be like, oh, celebrating that as a conversion. And I wouldn't celebrate that. That would not be. Hope to do 5,000 next year, one truck. Assuming you're saying 500,000, I think 500,000 would be more appropriate for that. Let's go Heat. One, really love it. Okay. I had someone, scroll back up really quick on the comments. I had one comment I wanted to announce. I'm going to give you a $25 Visa gift card here. Last giveaway before we hop off. Keep going. Keep going. My man fresher than fresh. No, I'm joking. That's not it. Keep going. Oh, come on back down. Right there. When they appreciate you as a person, they also tend to value your services and experience, and it definitely makes selling the job a lot easier. You have to take yourself out of the box. You have to connect with the customer. You have to become more than just an employee of that plumbing company, a service plumber. You have to become a community member to them. You've got to align in some way. That's so important for them to be able to even understand you more. And I just wish more people understand that. I don't believe in mirroring. I believe in genuine old school relationship building, which is connecting on commonalities. It's just that basic. I love it. So Louis J. Garcia, we got you a merch pack and also a $25 Visa gift card. Make sure you send a message into our show and we'll get you hooked up. For those that want more information about the free training we're doing tomorrow on metrics, that's going to be 90 minutes. That's going to be you and me. You're going to be able to interact. You're going to be live. You're going to be able to unmute. We're going to be able to talk. I cannot wait. Let's get in there. Let's get into it. Let's get into the actual training. What we talk about on the show, honestly, is just all high level surface stuff. I want to dig a little bit deeper. So we're going to do that for you guys. Free training, no strings attached, 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. We're going to get into it. That's tomorrow. Also, pay attention for the notice when it comes out for service plumbing owners or for home service owners. If you're interested, we're going to be doing an event here locally, 10 owners only, 10 companies. That's it, no more. And we are going to break down marketing, sales, and also entrepreneurship, everything that you need to know to scale and grow and be profitable in the next couple of years. In fact, we're calling it the 8-Figure Summit because we want you to come and see how to get to that $10, $20, $30 million mark. This is how you do it. We're going to show you exactly how. You're going to be in there with me. We're going to take a deep dive on your specific business along with the frameworks that matter for everyone. Cannot wait to see you guys in there. Congratulations to everyone that won. And as always, remember, serve your community and everything, not just plumbing. Y'all have a great night. If you want more tips about marketing, sales, and business, type subscribe in the comments and get alerts about future shows. Also, check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and other major platforms. Thanks again for watching The Fresh Approach.
Fresh.